Have you ever wondered what happens when the quietest person in the room finally declares war? Not with a shout, but with a silence so profound, so deliberate, it chills the very air around them. This isn't the absence of noise, it's the presence of a decision. A verdict has been reached in the silent chambers of their mind, and the sentence is your complete and utter removal from their world. You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting. For anyone who has ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or consistently pushed past their limits, this experience is all too familiar. You are the observer, the listener, the one who absorbs the energy of a room rather than dominating it. You give chances, you offer grace, and you believe in the inherent goodness of people, often to your own detriment. Your silence has been mistaken for weakness, your kindness for naivety, and your patience for an infinite resource. But it is not. There is a line, invisible to others but starkly clear to you, and once it is crossed, the landscape of your relationship with that person changes forever. The warmth recedes, the light in your eyes when you look at them dims, and a wall of impenetrable quiet rises. This is the quiet one's revenge, a form of self-preservation so total that it feels like annihilation to the one on the receiving end. Today, we delve into the heart of this silent war. We will not be talking about petty revenge or loud confrontations. We are exploring the profound psychological shift that occurs when a deeply patient and observant person decides you are no longer worth their energy. This is about understanding the immense power held within that quiet, the devastating finality of their withdrawal, and how to recognize when you are on the verge of pushing someone to that point. More importantly, for those of you who are the quiet ones, this is about understanding and honoring your own power. It is about realizing that your retreat is not a failure, but a sacred act of protecting your peace. We will unpack the subtle signs that a quiet person secretly despises the way they are being treated, the Jungian concept of the shadow self where this powerful protective energy resides, and how this silent war is the ultimate act of self-respect and boundary setting. This is your guide to transforming pain into power, to understanding the language of silence, and to ensuring that your quiet strength is never again mistaken for a weakness to be exploited. Let's begin with a truth that might surprise you, a first win in understanding this dynamic. The moment a quiet person stops explaining themselves to you is the moment you should be most concerned. It's not when they are arguing, pleading, or trying to make you understand their perspective. That is when they still care. That is when they believe the connection is worth salvaging. The true point of no return is the silence. This silence is not passive. It is an active, conscious choice. It is a declaration that they have concluded you are incapable of understanding, or worse, unwilling to. They have realized that the energy required to make you see their worth is far greater than the value you bring to their life. So they stop. They conserve that precious energy for themselves, for their healing, and for the people who do not require a dissertation on their humanity. This silence is a fortress, and inside they are finally at peace, free from the exhausting labor of trying to teach someone how to be a decent human being. They have given up on you not because they are weak, but because they are finally strong enough to let you go. This understanding is crucial because our society often misunderstands the nature of quiet people. They are frequently labeled as shy, aloof, or uninterested. In reality, they are often processing the world on a much deeper level. They are the social psychologists of their own lives, constantly observing patterns of behavior, analyzing motivations, and sensing the subtle energetic shifts in their interactions. They notice the flicker of contempt in your eyes when you think they aren't looking. They feel the dismissive tone in your voice, even when your words are superficially polite. They register every broken promise, every casual betrayal, every time their boundaries are treated as mere suggestions. For a long time, they store this data. They give the benefit of the doubt. They create intricate psychological profiles of the people around them, hoping their initial negative assessments are wrong. They want to be wrong. They want to believe that the person who seems to be a friend is not, in fact, a hidden enemy. This is where the concept of the persona, a term popularized by the great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, comes into play. We all wear masks or personas to navigate the social world. The quiet person is often acutely aware of this, both in themselves and in others. They see the chinks in the armor of the loud, boisterous individual who is secretly insecure. They recognize the forced smile of the frenemy who harbors deep-seated jealousy. Their own persona is often one of quiet accommodation, of being the easygoing, low-maintenance friend or partner. This is not necessarily a deception, but a strategy for survival in a world that can be overwhelmingly loud and aggressive. It is a way to protect their energy, to observe from a safe distance before deciding who is worthy of seeing what lies beneath the mask. The problem arises when others interact only with the persona and mistake it for the entirety of the person. They get comfortable with the quiet, accommodating mask and assume it will never be removed. They take and take, pushing and prodding, completely oblivious to the fact that they are interacting with a carefully constructed shield. Behind that shield, the true self, the deeper consciousness, is watching, recording, and evaluating. And it has a powerful, often unseen ally, the shadow self. The shadow, in Jungian psychology, is the part of our unconscious mind where all the aspects of ourselves that we have repressed or rejected reside. It is the home of our instincts, our creativity, our raw emotions, and our untamed power. For the quiet, gentle person, the shadow often contains their capacity for aggression, for rage, for ruthless boundary setting. Because they have spent their lives trying to be good, nice, and understanding, they have pushed these so-called negative traits into the darkness of their unconscious. But the shadow does not disappear. It grows in the dark, fueled by every slight, every moment of disrespect, every instance of being taken for granted. The quiet person's tolerance is not infinite. It is simply the long, slow process of their shadow accumulating power. When the breaking point is reached, it is not just the conscious mind that decides to withdraw. It is the shadow bursting forth to protect the wounded self. The silence that descends is not empty. It is filled with the integrated power of the shadow. It is a force field of no more chances, no more explanations, no more of your energy in my space. This is why it feels so jarring and absolute to the person on the receiving end. They were so used to dealing with the gentle persona that the emergence of this cold, impenetrable boundary feels like a shocking betrayal. They might call the quiet person cold, heartless, or cruel. They fail to understand that they are simply meeting the consequences of their own actions. They are meeting the warrior that they themselves created. They have poked the bear one too many times, and now the bear has simply decided to move to a different forest, one where it will not be poked. This silent revenge is not about inflicting pain for the sake of it. It is about ending pain. It is a radical act of self-preservation. Think of it like a spiritual or psychological immune system. When a foreign body, a virus or a bacteria, enters the physical body, the immune system doesn't negotiate with it. It doesn't try to teach the virus how to be a better, less harmful entity. It identifies the threat, isolates it, and eliminates it from the system to restore health and balance. The quiet one's silent war is the psychological equivalent of this process. They have identified a toxic presence in their life, a person whose behavior is causing persistent emotional and spiritual harm. After numerous attempts to manage the situation through patience and communication have failed, the system moves into a different mode. It cuts off the source of the toxicity completely. The silence, the withdrawal, the emotional detachment, these are the antibodies of the soul. Let's deepen this value and explore the specific tactics, the weapons in the arsenal of this silent war. These are not tools of aggression, but instruments of energetic sovereignty. The first and most fundamental is the art of becoming a gray rock. The gray rock method is a psychological technique for dealing with manipulative or narcissistic individuals. The goal is to make yourself as boring, unresponsive, and uninteresting as a gray rock. The toxic person feeds on drama, on emotional reactions, both positive and negative. They thrive on getting a rise out of you. When you become a gray rock, you starve them of their narcissistic supply. Your responses become short, factual, and devoid of emotion. You do not share personal information. You do not offer opinions. You do not engage in arguments or debates. You become a bland, unappealing surface from which their provocations simply slide off. For the quiet person who has declared a silent war, this often happens naturally. Their emotional well has run dry for that specific individual. They literally have no more feeling to give. When the toxic person asks, "How was your weekend?" the answer isn't a detailed story, it's a flat, "It was fine." When they try to instigate drama with a piece of gossip, the response isn't engagement, but a non-committal, "I see." There is no fuel for their fire. They might escalate their attempts to get a reaction, to poke and prod even harder, but they are met with the same impassive wall. Eventually, like a child who gets bored with an unresponsive toy, they will move on to find a new source of supply. The quiet one doesn't have to yell, scream, or fight. They simply have to become utterly, profoundly boring. They win by refusing to play the game. Another powerful weapon is the strategic withdrawal of information. Quiet people are natural observers, and over time they accumulate a vast amount of knowledge about the people around them. They know their insecurities, their desires, their patterns. In a healthy relationship, this knowledge is used to foster intimacy and understanding. But when a silent war has been declared, this flow of information ceases. The quiet person stops offering insights, advice, or emotional support. They no longer share the parts of themselves that the other person had come to rely on. The toxic individual might have used the quiet person as their personal therapist, their confidant, their unpaid strategist. Suddenly that resource is gone. They are left to navigate their own chaos without the steadying, insightful presence they took for granted. This withdrawal is a powerful demonstration of the value the quiet person brought to the relationship, a value that is only truly appreciated in its absence. This leads to the ultimate weapon, complete and total emotional detachment. This is the final stage of the quiet one's revenge. It is the point where they have successfully severed the energetic cord that once connected them to the other person. They can be in the same room, they can even have a necessary, superficial interaction, but they feel nothing. No anger, no resentment, no sadness. Just a vast, peaceful emptiness where the toxic connection used to be. This is a state of true freedom. Jung might call this a successful stage of individuation, the process of becoming a psychologically whole and independent individual. By withdrawing their emotional projection from the other person, they have reclaimed a vital part of their own soul. The person on the receiving end experiences this as a profound coldness. It is unnerving for them because they can sense that their power over the quiet person is gone. They can no longer manipulate their emotions, trigger their insecurities, or drain their energy. The quiet person has become a sovereign nation with closed borders and a non-negotiable immigration policy. They are polite, they are civil, but they are no longer accessible. This is the checkmate. The game is over and the quiet one has won, not by destroying their opponent, but by simply walking off the board and taking their peace with them. Let's take a moment to recap what we've uncovered so far. We have established that the quiet one's silence is not weakness, but a fortress of self-preservation. We've identified the moment they stop explaining themselves as the true point of no return. We have explored how their keen observational skills and understanding of the human persona allow them to see the truth behind the masks of others. And we have touched upon the Jungian concept of the shadow, the hidden reservoir of power that is unleashed when their boundaries are irrevocably crossed. We are beginning to see that this silent war is a complex psychological process of reclaiming one's energy and sovereignty. But there is so much more to this story. We have yet to fully explore the anatomy of the wounds that lead to this war, the specific types of hidden enemies who inflict them, and the profound journey of shadow work and inner healing that allows the quiet one not just to survive, but to transform their pain into an unshakable inner strength. This is not just about cutting people off. It is about a deep, alchemical process of healing your inner child and becoming the person you were always meant to be. Have you ever had that feeling, that slow dawning realization that someone you considered a friend, a colleague, or even a family member doesn't actually have your best interests at heart? It's a deeply unsettling experience, especially for an emotionally sensitive and intuitive person. You start to notice the subtle signs, the little things that don't quite add up. This is a crucial skill to develop, not to become paranoid, but to become discerning. It is the first line of defense in protecting your energy and preventing the need for a silent war in the first place. One of the most common archetypes of the hidden enemy is the frenemy. This is the person who presents as a friend but harbors feelings of jealousy, competition, and resentment. Their toxicity is often delivered with a smile. They are masters of the backhanded compliment. They might say something like, "That presentation you gave was so good. I'm surprised you weren't more nervous." The compliment is the sugar coating for the poison pill of the underlying message. "I expected you to fail." They will subtly sabotage you while pretending to help. They might forget to pass on an important piece of information or give you advice that is intentionally misleading. They celebrate your failures with a performative display of sympathy and seem to deflate when you succeed. The quiet, observant person often senses this duality long before they have concrete proof. They feel the energetic dissonance between the person's words and their true intentions. Another hidden enemy is the emotional vampire or the covert narcissist. This person is drawn to the quiet one's empathy and stable energy like a moth to a flame. They are masters of pity and victimhood. Their life is a constant stream of drama and crisis, and they have chosen you as their unpaid therapist. They will monopolize your time and energy with their problems, but the moment you need support, they are nowhere to be found. They will dismiss your struggles as less important than theirs, or even become annoyed that you are taking the spotlight off of them. Dealing with an emotional vampire is like being slowly drained of your life force. After every interaction, you feel exhausted, depleted, and a little bit emptier. They do not have to be overtly cruel to be incredibly destructive. Their weapon is a passive, insidious consumption of your spirit. Then there are the gaslighters. These are perhaps the most psychologically damaging of all hidden enemies. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation where a person makes you doubt your own perceptions, your memory, and your sanity. They will deny saying things you clearly remember them saying. They will twist your words and use them against you. They will tell you that you are too sensitive, overreacting, or crazy when you call them out on their behavior. The goal of the gaslighter is to erode your confidence in your own reality so that they can maintain control. For the quiet, introspective person who already spends a lot of time in their own head, gaslighting can be particularly devastating. It can make them believe that they are the problem, that their feelings are invalid, and that they are incapable of accurately perceiving the world. Recognizing these toxic patterns is the first step toward freedom. It requires you to trust your intuition, that gut feeling that tells you something is off, even when you can't logically explain it. Intuition is a form of spiritual intelligence and awareness of the energetic undercurrents of life. Quiet, spiritually gifted people often have a highly developed intuition. It is a gift that has been honed by a lifetime of observation and deep feeling. Trusting this gift is non-negotiable for self-protection. When someone consistently makes you feel small, anxious, or confused, listen to that feeling. It is your soul's alarm system warning you of a threat. You do not need a mountain of evidence to justify protecting your peace. Your feelings are reason enough. This is where the journey inward, the process of shadow work, becomes so vital. It is not enough to simply identify the external enemies. We must also understand why we were susceptible to them in the first place. This is not about blaming the victim. It is about radical self-empowerment. The Jungian method of healing is not about finding fault, but about bringing the unconscious into the light of consciousness. It is about understanding the wounds of our inner child that may have created a pattern of seeking validation from unhealthy sources. Perhaps as a child, you learned that you had to be quiet, compliant, and accommodating to receive love and avoid conflict. You may have had a critical parent who made you feel that your needs were a burden. This can create an adult who is a people pleaser. Someone who unconsciously believes they must earn their worth by serving others, even at their own expense. The emotional vampire is drawn to this wound like a shark to blood. They sense that you will give and give without asking for anything in return. Or perhaps you grew up in an environment where your emotions were dismissed or punished. You were told to stop crying or that you were being too dramatic. This can create an adult who doesn't trust their own feelings. They learn to suppress their emotional responses and rely on external validation to know if they are right or wrong. The gaslighter thrives on this uncertainty. They can easily manipulate someone who has already been taught that their own inner compass is broken. Healing the inner child is about going back to these original wounds with the compassion and wisdom of your adult self. It is about telling that little boy or little girl within you that their feelings were valid, that their needs were important, and that they deserve to be loved and protected unconditionally. It is about reparenting yourself, giving yourself the approval and security you may not have received. This is deep, transformative work. It can be painful to revisit these old hurts, but it is the only way to truly break the cycle of self-sabotage and toxic relationships. When you heal your inner child, you no longer seek validation from the outside. You become your own source of love and approval. This makes you impervious to the manipulations of frenemies, emotional vampires, and gaslighters. They no longer have any leverage over you. You don't need their conditional friendship, their hollow praise, or their distorted version of reality. You have your own. This inner healing is the foundation upon which the unshakable fortress of self-respect is built. As you engage in this process of shadow work and inner child healing, you begin to integrate the rejected parts of yourself. You realize that your anger is not something to be feared or suppressed. It is a sacred messenger that tells you when your boundaries have been violated. You learn to embrace your anger as a source of protective energy. You don't have to express it with rage and aggression. You can channel it into clear, firm, and immovable boundaries. The integrated shadow allows you to say no with a quiet confidence that requires no further explanation or justification. It is a complete sentence. This is the alchemy of the soul, transforming the lead of your pain and trauma into the gold of your wisdom and strength. The quiet one's revenge, which may have started as a reactive measure of self-defense, evolves into a proactive state of being. You no longer have to go to war because you have established a lasting peace within yourself. Your energy becomes so clear, your boundaries so well-defined, that toxic people are naturally repelled from your reality. They sense on a subconscious level that their games will not work with you. At the same time, you begin to attract conscious, healthy relationships. People who are also doing their own inner work, who respect boundaries, and who are capable of true intimacy are drawn to your authentic and integrated energy. Think about the most grounded, self-assured people you know. They are often not the loudest. They have a quiet power, an inner stillness that is palpable. They do not get drawn into drama. They do not engage in petty conflicts. They have a luxury mindset when it comes to their energy. They invest it wisely and refuse to squander it on negativity. This is the state you are moving toward. This is the ultimate outcome of the quiet one's journey. It is a transformation from being a victim of social attacks to becoming the sovereign ruler of your own inner kingdom. This journey is not about becoming hard or unfailing. In fact, it is the opposite. By clearing out the toxicity and healing your wounds, you create more space for genuine love, compassion, and connection. You become more deeply and authentically yourself. You are able to be vulnerable with the right people because you are no longer afraid of being exploited. Your emotional sensitivity, which once felt like a curse, is revealed to be one of your greatest spiritual gifts. It allows you to experience the beauty of the world on a profound level, to connect with others heart to heart, and to be guided by the deep wisdom of your intuition. You realize that your quiet nature was never a flaw. It was the fertile ground in which your spiritual gifts could grow. So let's take another breath and look at how far we've journeyed. We've moved from understanding the initial act of silent withdrawal to identifying the hidden enemies who provoke it. We've delved deep into the Jungian method of healing, exploring the crucial work of integrating the shadow and healing the inner child to break free from toxic patterns. We now see that this path is not one of revenge, but of profound psychological and spiritual transformation. It is about turning pain into power and becoming the architect of your own peaceful and authentic life. But what does this life actually look like on a day-to-day basis? How does this newfound inner strength manifest in your career, your relationships, and your own sense of self? And how do you maintain this state of quiet power in a world that is constantly trying to pull you back into the noise and chaos? The answers to these questions represent the final and most rewarding stage of this transformation, where self-protection becomes effortless and joy becomes your natural state of being. Living a life of quiet power is a radical departure from the way most people exist in the modern world. It is a conscious choice to disengage from the culture of outrage, performative hustle, and external validation. It is the embodiment of a luxury mindset, where the ultimate luxury is not a material possession, but a state of inner peace and unshakable self-worth. When you have truly healed your inner child and integrated your shadow, your daily life begins to reflect this inner transformation in beautiful and profound ways. In your career, you no longer feel the need to be the loudest voice in the room to be heard. Your contributions are rooted in deep thought and clear insight, and you deliver them with a quiet confidence that commands respect. You are not swayed by office politics or the drama of your colleagues. You do your work with integrity and excellence, and you let the quality of your output speak for itself. You set firm boundaries around your time and energy. You are no longer the person who stays late every night to pick up the slack for others. You do not answer emails at all hours of the night. You understand that your well-being is the foundation of your success, and you protect it fiercely. Paradoxically, by striving less and being more, you often achieve more. Opportunities seem to find you. People want to collaborate with you because they are drawn to your calm, stable, and authentic energy. In your relationships, the change is even more profound. You have become a connoisseur of connection. You are no longer willing to accept crumbs of affection or to participate in one-sided relationships. You gravitate toward people who are emotionally mature, self-aware, and capable of genuine reciprocity. Your friendships are deep, nurturing, and built on a foundation of mutual respect and trust. There is no room for frenemies or emotional vampires in your life because your energetic immune system is now so strong that it identifies and rejects them immediately. When it comes to romantic relationships, you are no longer operating from a place of scarcity or fear of being alone. You understand that it is far better to be happy and single than to be in a relationship that compromises your peace. If you are single, perhaps in your 40s or 50s, you are not plagued by the question, "Why am I still single?" You have reframed the question to, "How can I continue to build a life so full and beautiful that a partner would be a wonderful addition but not a necessity?" You are not waiting for someone to complete you. You are already whole. This wholeness is incredibly attractive. It is the secret to finding love late in life, to attracting a conscious partner who is also whole and who is looking for a true equal. You are no longer looking for a savior, but a co-creator of a beautiful life. Your relationship with yourself becomes the most important relationship of all. You learn to enjoy your own company. Solitude is no longer a source of loneliness, but a cherished opportunity for reflection, creativity, and spiritual connection. You trust your own judgment. You no longer need a committee of friends to approve your life decisions. You have cultivated a deep connection to your own inner wisdom, your spiritual intuition, and you allow it to be your primary guide. You stop self-sabotaging because you finally believe on the deepest level that you are worthy of happiness and success. You understand that self-sabotage was just a misguided attempt by your wounded inner child to protect you from further hurt by keeping you small. Now that the inner child is healed and feels safe, it can finally let go of these self-destructive patterns. Maintaining this state of quiet power requires ongoing practice and self-awareness. It is like tending a garden. You must continue to pull the weeds of negative self-talk, to water the seeds of your dreams with positive action, and to protect your garden from pests, the external energies that would seek to disturb your peace. This means being mindful of the media you consume, the conversations you participate in, and the environments you place yourself in. It means continuing to do your inner work, to check in with your feelings, and to honor the messages of your body and soul. There will be times when you are tested. The world will try to pull you back into its drama. An old acquaintance may try to reignite a toxic dynamic. A new situation at work may challenge your boundaries. These are not setbacks, they are opportunities to practice your newfound strength. Each time you successfully hold your ground, each time you choose your peace over someone else's chaos, you reinforce the neural pathways of self-respect in your brain. Your quiet power becomes less of a conscious effort and more of your default state of being. This journey, from the silent war of the wounded soul to the quiet peace of the sovereign self, is the essence of what Carl Jung called the process of individuation. It is the journey of a lifetime. It is about shedding the false personas, healing the inner wounds, embracing the shadow, and emerging as the unique, whole, and authentic individual you were always meant to be. It is the ultimate act of how to change your life. It is not about a sudden, dramatic transformation, but a slow, steady, and profound awakening to your own inner light. The Quiet One's revenge is not about destroying others, it is about rebuilding yourself. It is the realization that the greatest power in the world is not the power to control others, but the power to be unapologetically, peacefully, and powerfully yourself. Your silence, once a shield, has become a throne. From it, you rule a kingdom of inner peace, a kingdom that no one can ever take from you. As we bring our journey to a close today, I want you to hold this final thought. The world may have taught you that your voice needs to be loud to be heard, that your presence needs to be big to be felt, and that your power needs to be aggressive to be real. But what if the opposite is true? What if the most profound strength lies not in the noise, but in the stillness? What if the most impactful presence is the one that is so grounded in its own truth that it needs no external validation? And what if the most formidable power is the quiet, unshakable boundary that says, "My peace is not negotiable"? You have been on a long and arduous journey of self-discovery, moving from the pain of being misunderstood and exploited to the empowerment of reclaiming your own energy. You have learned to see the war of silence not as an act of petty revenge, but as a sacred and necessary act of self-love. You have explored the depths of your own psychology, embraced your shadow, and begun the healing of your inner child. You are not the same person who started this journey. You are stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your authentic self. The path forward is one of continued growth and conscious living. It is about taking the profound truths we have discussed today and weaving them into the fabric of your daily existence. It is about choosing in every moment to honor your sensitivity, to trust your intuition, and to protect your energy as the precious life force that it is. You are the guardian of your own inner sanctuary. Let no one enter who does not respect the sanctity of that space. Let your life be a testament to the quiet power that blossoms when you refuse to participate in the chaos and instead cultivate your own inner garden of peace. And now I leave you with a question, a key to unlock the next chapter of your transformation. Look back at the relationships and situations in your life where you have felt most drained, most disrespected, most unseen. What is the one boundary that, if you were to implement it today with quiet, unshakable resolve, would most profoundly change your reality for the better? You don't need to announce it. You don't need to justify it. You just need to decide. What is that one powerful, silent decision you are ready to make for the sake of your own peace? Let that answer resonate within you, and let it be the first step on your continued journey into the beautiful, powerful, and peaceful life you so deeply deserve.